Hey there, it's Martha, and if you're new, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. If you're returning, I'm in a new spot. I am down in front of my computer. I'm looking at my spreadsheet and going to start building my 2025 spreadsheet, which is really taking the spreadsheet that I use right now, and there is a video for it on my channel. I can link it below, but I want to add a couple of things to it and also clean it up. So any vendors that maybe I'm not planning on buying any of, and I don't have any more of that wax. There's like zeros, they're like taking up space. I'm going to kind of remove those, but I will be keeping the name of the vendor, the blend, and any notes that I have in a master list. So I do want to keep a master list in the event that in the future, if I do choose to buy it, I know whether I liked it or not. And this will be not just vendors I'm not buying from, but even scents, that are like zeroed out basically on my spreadsheet. So they could be things that I want more of. Like I'm looking right now, Brita's Evil Elves, I gave it a heart, which means that I would buy this one again. But I currently have 0 in my inventory. So I'm going to take it out and put it in my master list. So this video, I'm going to be talking about my wax goals for 2025. This is not my monthly check-in, which will still happen at the beginning of January. This is really, what's my strategy for 2025? What are the vendors that worked for me? What are the vendors that I'm planning on purchasing from in 2025? And then what is my strategy? So if you're interested in hearing about that, like trends that I saw, things that are working for me in my plans for 2025, then stick around. Okay, because I'm staring at my spreadsheet, I'm going to start with that. So I did just mention the intro. I'm going to clean my spreadsheet, start a new 2025 one, carry over whatever wax that I have from 2024 into 2025, just like I did in this spreadsheet this year. I had a 2023 total at the beginning, so this time it'll be a 2024 total, but inspired by a video that Shijo made of her spreadsheet, and Stacy also had shared her spreadsheet. They're a lot more, I think, better at spreadsheets than I am, but what I do want to add is weight, like how many ounces I used. That's going to take me a little while, but I do feel that knowing that is even more helpful than tracking a number one, right? Because that one could be a loaf, it could be a souffle, it could be a shape, it could be a sample. There's a huge difference in whether I used up one sample or whether I used up a loaf. So I do want to track by weight. I just feel like that will really give me even greater insights into how much I'm using a month. I've started tracking it in October and just in November and December. And so I do find that to be pretty helpful. So I am going to take that new column and add it into my 2025 spreadsheet. I also I think I have a rating column right now, but I think I want to add one for longevity or like performance and scent. And kind of those two will help me decide, is this like a must-have or yes, because right now I have a rating as a thumbs up, but a thumbs up could mean like, I like it. So if it's in a pre-order and you see it, you could grab it versus a heart, which is like, if you see this and I'm out, get it, like definitely repurchase. And the thumbs down. Sometimes the thumbs down is like, maybe you just didn't last, but I like the scent, or maybe. So I think just having a little more information as to what gave that overall rating, would help me. Even though I write it in the comments, but I don't fill in the comments all the time. But that was my spreadsheet. So I didn't want to that wasn't the point of this video. But what I did take from my spreadsheet is I created a pivot table and some formulas and some percentages and things to see what are the vendors that I keep using at a pretty good pace. Vendors that I purchased more of this year and I still seem to be maybe using more than I bought, or kind of at the same pace of how much I bought, I used up. Like, I'm trying to see an example. There was one, who was it? I think it was Salt Mountain Melts. I bought 10 units this year, 10 souffles this year, and I used 11. But I started with 16. So, that's just an example of that was buying one pre-order from Salt Mountain Melts was probably about right. Or if I buy from 2 pre-orders, 10 total is a good amount because it's not one I'm reaching for as much as some other wax. So let's get into vendors that I worked for me, and I'll say I'm open to buying them next year. It just depends on how much wax I still have and some other variables. I may or may not. But overall, the strategy is I will not be buying from every pre-order. There was a time, and I still feel guilty about it, where I felt guilty, especially if it's a small business owner that I love their wax. And I mean, I love everything about it. It works for me, all that stuff. I wanted to continue to support and buy from every pre-order. And then I feel guilty when I don't. But I gotta let go of that guilt. They're doing great. More and more people are discovering them. Me not buying one pre-order is not gonna make or break anything, right? So part of it is, I guess, an ego thing. So letting go of that. But vendors that I am open to purchasing more because the wax performs for me, I reach for it at a pretty good pace. The first one, this is alphabetical order, is Britta's. Britta's performs for me in general really well. Bedrooms, open space, all of it. And I've been using it at a pretty good clip. For example, in 2024, I purchased 21, souffles or shapes maybe, from Britta's, and I used 21. I started with 18, so I still have about half, a little less than half of Britta's in my stash, but buying 21, using 21, that's pretty good. So Britta's is one. Knoll's Farm Scents is another. I think no surprise there. I started with 62 at the beginning of the year. I purchased 38, I think, Brittles. He pretty much switched over to Brittles early in the year. And so that was a lot. So that means at some point this year, I had 100 units of Knoll's Farm Scents, but I've used 45. I have about, so I've used about half of it. What this is telling me, though, is I don't need to buy every pre-order from Knoll's. I need to use up a little bit more before I buy more. Lavender and Speckles is another one that I plan on purchasing from. So what is that so far? That's 3 vendors. And this one, I purchased one pre-order from Beth this year. I purchased 15 in 2024 and I used up 37. In total, I had 67 from, what I purchased and my starting count from last year. But I have a little less than half. So I use Lavender and Speckles at a pretty good pace. But I'm glad I only purchased one pre-order because this is telling me to how quickly I go through someone's wax. The other one is Rose Girls. Rose Girls, I am open to purchasing finally. I did a no-buy Rose Girls in 2024 because in 2023, or at the end of 2023, beginning of 2024, I had 102 bags of Rose Girls. That was too much. Too much of one vendor to have, especially when on the spreadsheet there's 51 vendors. Definitely not buying from 51 vendors. Most of it, I think, was friend mail, those, that where I ended up with 51. But Rose Girls, I'm open to buying. I still have 47 bags, so maybe second half of next year, or maybe I continue another year of no buy. I think this is one where I just want to see and her pre-orders are often. So that's the beauty of Rose Girls. I feel like I still have work to do to use up more Rose Girls before I buy more. And I I mean, it's not like it's not like Teddy Bees where there's only 3 pre-orders a year, right? Rose Girls, I feel like I can get every so often. So, but Rose Girls is the 4th vendor that I'm open to buying from. Sorry, I've been talking a lot today. Salt Mountain Melts. I love her wax. I love the consistency. In general, she performs for me. And I purchased 1 pre-order from her this year, and I used up about the amount that I ordered. So although I'm not reaching for Salt Mountain Melts often, I'm allowing myself to purchase maybe 1 pre-order from Salt Mountain Melts. Maybe, maybe not, but I think that makes her my 5th vendor. Let's see here. Sassy Girl Aroma opens up. She's kind of in the same ballpark as Rose Girls because I had 92 in the beginning of 2024. I only got 6 that came in friend mail. So I was basically starting with 98. I've used up, I have 54 left. So I still have quite a bit of Sassy Girl Aroma, but I'm excited for her reopening. And she's like, maybe, maybe not. Just depends on how much I'm using her wax. I do have a bunch of hotel scents from Sassy Girl Aroma. And I was thinking in January, that would be a great month to have like hotel scents in my melting basket. But considering how much December wax I still have in my melting basket for December, I will probably not do a January melting basket. Or if I do, I may just insert a few, and it could be those hotel scents. So I am planning on using more Sassy Girl Aroma in the beginning of the year. But I'm open to maybe purchasing once or twice next year. Again, keeping those orders small. The other one is Second and Spruce. I do use Second and Spruce quite a bit. So I only skipped 1 pre-order, but I only purchased 24 units total. So I kept it small and I used up 41. So I am definitely using up Second and Spruce. I'm down to about 22 units, and I can see myself definitely doing a pre-order. If she does her friends pre-order, which she did, I think, kind of near the beginning of this year, and I think she'll do it again next year, I will probably do that pre-order. So Second and Spruce is the other one. I think I'm at 7 here. That Smell Good Shop is another one. It was one that I wanted to try. She Joe here on YouTube was wonderful enough to send me friend mail and give me a lot of her favorites from that Smell Good Shop. And I found that I love it. It works for me. I love the ease of those little cubes. You can get different sizes. You can do customs. Really everything about that Smell Good Shop is like, everyone should try it. It works in my Scentsy warmers. That is a vendor that I definitely see myself purchasing a little bit more of. I did place an order, I want to say in October, maybe September. Time is really weird. But I haven't used any of that pre-order, but I used up almost everything that She Joe sent me. So 44 came in and I used up 21. So I'm almost at using up most of what I have. The Candle Nurse. The Candle Nurse is one that I do want to buy more of next year. I haven't warmed a lot of what I purchased earlier this year because I have so much wax, but this is one where I do want to use up a lot of it. My 1 pre-order that I did early in the year, so I can buy more. I have 12 bags right now. I could quickly use that pretty quickly within 2 months, I would say, or 3 months. And so Candle Nurse is one I'm open to. I love what I've smelled on cold. I do need to warm some more and really see how it performs in my house. But from what I remember, I think it did, from the little that I did try. And her scents are just beautiful. So the Candle Nurse is in there. And then another one, and those are the ones that I've purchased from this year that I would buy more of. I skipped over Teddy Bees because Teddy Bees, I had 71 when I started the year, and I bought another 72 this year. I bought a lot of Teddy Bees. So that brought me to having a stash of 143, and I only use 28. So I'm not reaching for my Teddy Bees as often as I thought I would. Teddy Bees is beautiful, gorgeous scents, but they're lighter. And I think that's why I don't reach for them as much, because they're more scents I would warm in the bedroom. And I have a lot of bedroom scents. And I just, I got to chop it and all that stuff. So I want to put a pause on Teddy Bees. I don't know that it'll be for the whole year, but I'm definitely going to pause because I have right now 115. Like, for the same reason I didn't buy Rose Girls, this year, because I had bought so much last year in 2023, I should really be using that same rationale for not buying any Teddy Bees next year. The temptation with Teddy Bees is just so strong that I don't know that realistically I'm going to say I'm not buying any Teddy Bees next year, but I'm for sure planning. Now, what I do and what I plan, two different things, but I'm planning on skipping at least the first 2 pre-orders, which then leaves me to 1 next year, because she only does, that's the hard thing, she only does 3, and you're like, ooh, if I don't go in on 2 of them, that means I only have 1 shot next year to buy Teddy Bees. But I have a lot. I have a lot. I should love and use what I have. So Teddy Bees, I might skip all of next year. We'll see. We'll see what I do. Okay, so those were, what is that? That's like 8, right? That I said 8 vendors that I reach for often, work for me, want to continue to buy from. There are a few vendors that I received in friend mail, so I've never really purchased, or maybe I purchased like once, but I want to try more of and am open to. Is Traverse City Wax Co. So that brings me to 9 vendors. The Melt Stash, really impressed with what I got from the Melt Stash in friend mail. So that is 10. And the other one I think is Swanky. Swanky's been on my mind for a while. I'm like, I want to try some of her scents. So it might be a small, like 1 small pre-order. So is that 10 now? And then I'm looking at my spreadsheet. I've also wanted to get some Southbound. I may or may not. But I've been really happy with the friend mail I've gotten from, especially the lavender scents from Southbound. And, yeah, I think that's it. Oh, and then Super Tarts. Super Tarts is a vendor I've never tried, although I did try 2 from friend mail that I got. So I shouldn't say never tried. I never bought from Super Tarts. So maybe next year is the year, maybe. But right now I really want to kind of continue with what I know for sure. It's less tempting when you've never tried something, because then you don't know what you're missing. But it is a vendor that I hear a lot of people love and talk about. And so it is one on my radar. It's kind of the same way that that Smell Good shop has been on my radar for a while, but I just never bought any. So I think Super Tarts is kind of like in that same playing field. So that's like, 10 or 11 vendors that I'm open to buying from next year, but I may not. I'm just kind of giving myself that pass, and or I may only buy 1 or 2 pre-orders, just really depending on what the offering is, or if I'm keeping them really small. And my hope is, if I get it down from, I think I have 51 vendors on this spreadsheet. If I get them down to these, let's just say 15, just to put an even number there, to like 15 vendors, then that means I can also have more of that vendor, right? Because there's less wax in general, right? If I can focus it down to just a handful of vendors, that means I can buy from them more often, and because I can use it more often. When I have 51 vendors and I have, 1,000 pieces of wax, you can't melt that much. And so the hope has always been, I want to melt within the year. I want to only buy enough that I know I can use within that season or that year, with a few exceptions. I just don't want to hold on to so much wax from one year to the next. And my hope is also, before I go in and buy more from a vendor, that I'm really down to, a marginal amount of wax from that vendor. Like my stash is really shrunk and I have space in my drawers to add more from that vendor. So that's the overall goal for next year. I feel like, I bought 505 pieces this year, which is quite a bit. I want to buy less next year, and then that will help me continue to bring my number down. So right now I'm at 864 and it's December 21st. I'll be probably down to less than that. But I want to keep bringing that number. I think my magic number is like 400, 300. 300 would be really ideal, I think. When I look at how much I used so far, I've used 715 pieces. And so the reason I say 300 or 400 is then for sure I would be going through my wax within the same year and be able to repurchase, and feel like I'm rotating it, within a few months. So that's the hope. If I hadn't bought anything this year, if nothing came in this year, I would have been down to 358. So it's doable. It's doable if I was like on a full on no buy, but I don't want to be on a no buy. And that's where I'm at. So those were the vendors that I'm planning on purchasing from, that I know work for me and I feel would really help me hone in and focus on scents that I like. On some of those, like I said, with Southbound, there are, I think now I know what oils I like from certain vendors, that I'll have a better sense on those pre-orders of what I can skip and what I can purchase. Like, for example, if I do buy Southbound, I want some sweet lavender scents. If I want eggnog, I will go for Second and Spruce. If I want a really strong peppermint, I'd get it from Rose Girls. I'm trying to think, I just feel like there's certain vendors that just nail certain oils, and that I like a lot. So that is it. That's the video. I just wanted to talk about the year and continuing having less, because I'm finding that, and I might mention this again in my monthly check-in, I find that there are days where I would be probably happy not melting something. I'm either too tired, I don't feel like changing the wax, or I'm enjoying a scent that's in there and I'm like, I just want to let it keep going. But because I have so much wax, I feel like I can't waste a day. I can't waste a day of not melting, because that's like, time is of the essence and I have so much wax I have to use. So it almost feels a little wasteful in a way, that I'm not fully enjoying it because I feel I need to get through it. And even though mentally I'm aware of that, I just can't kick the habit of feeling like I have to melt something like as soon as I get home. Like even if I've been gone all day at work and I come home, it's like first thing I'm doing is putting something in my wax instead of like, just relax, settle down, get home, cook some dinner. Like it doesn't have to be the first thing on my mind. And I want it to get to be less of this urgency of wanting to use stuff all the time for the sake of using it. I want to be able to melt on days I want to melt. Maybe there's a day where I'm like, you know what? Give my nose a break today. I don't want to smell anything. And have that be okay. Or I want to burn a candle tonight and not have to worry about, well, is this going to go with whatever I'm melting or things like that. So that's part of it too. I feel like if I have less, I'll enjoy it more. I think it's with anything, right? When you have less of something, it's more precious than when you have so much of it. It's like, I'll just throw on another piece of wax, or I'll just take it out. I can kind of still smell it, but I'm ready for something new, right? So you're a little more nonchalant about it, but when you have less, you treasure it more because you don't have as much. So I want to get to that place. And that's what I've been working toward in 2024, more the second half of this year than the first half, and just kind of keep it with a little more focus in 2025. So that is that. Anything else I wanted to mention before I go? Oh, just YouTube. I think YouTube and videos. And I'm probably thinking this way because December has been really hard. Like, from a work perspective, from time balance, from just life work balance, I barely can watch like more than 2 videos during the weekend. So of all the YouTubers that I wish I could watch all, but I mean, if we're talking like I'm watching 20, 25 people, and that's not including planner videos, makeup videos, and some other things, right? You can imagine I don't have a lot of time to watch. And part of it is because if I'm making videos and editing videos, a big chunk of my weekend is done on my own content, my own channel. And so I do feel like I want to slow down a little bit with making videos. I'd still have my weekly, what I've been warming, but if I'm melting less because I'm not as like, I got to get through all this wax, then maybe that even isn't weekly. I don't know. So it's definitely things that are on my mind right now because it's just been, I come home exhausted. And I have like nothing left to give. And I don't want to lose the fun in YouTube at all, because I do love it. But it is time consuming, and, it means that I can't do other things. So trying to think about everything about next year feels like less videos, less wax, a little bit of less, and it'll allow for more room for other things, to watch videos, to watch other things, to play. My word for next year is joy. So how do I find that joy? Joy in things, joy in going out, joy in just taking a drive, joy in getting back into photography, joy in everything that I do. I want it to feel joyful, not like a drag, right? And so that is my word. My word is joy. First time I've had a word that it's kind of fun in a way that isn't sound like something I need to work on necessarily. I picked it because I do want to have more joy, but it's like a fun word. Whereas in the past, it's been connect. So connecting more with people, with friends, with my body, with myself, that kind of thing. Focus was last year, right? Focus was last year because I do have, I've never been diagnosed, and I think people put labels on a lot of things. I don't know that it's ADHD, but I've always been easily distracted, always. And so focus was like, what strategies and tools can I use to help me get things done? Because I'm also a procrastinator and things like that. And then this year, my word was balance. And it has helped me to have a word of the year because it helped me rebalance, finding time to read and do other things and not be all about making videos and all about my channel and then my full-time job, of course. So joy, I'm looking forward to having a fun word, like it's fun. So anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I don't know how long I was talking, but I hope this was fun, informative. I'd love to know what your strategies are. Are there some vendors that you're planning on sticking to? Some that you've decided aren't for you? Let's chat and put it down below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will chat with you later. Bye-bye.